Can you do me a favor? Can you look in the camera and say like, comment, and subscribe?
Like, comment.
Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. So to my grandson's channel. Say
Oh.
like, comment, and subscribe to my grandson's channel.
Like, comment, and subscribe to my grandson's channel.
You heard it. The idea behind this series that I'm doing is called If I Knew Then. So if I knew then what I know now, would I do things differently? The idea is to learn from people's hindsight and to give advice.
Okay, you're giving me the chills.
Well, and
So cute.
thank you. Initially, it started just work focused. So things that people wish they knew earlier in their career. But then I started to interview family members, and then I got to hear some cool stories that I never heard before from grandma and from my nonna. And so I wanted to interview you guys too.
Oh, thank you.
Of course, of course. Thank you for doing this. Okay. Today we have my great aunt and uncle, John and Arlene Kirby. Thank you guys for doing this today. I appreciate it. Before we get started, can I ask you guys to tell me a little bit about yourself and your background? Do you want to start?
Sure. I grew up in 10 First Street.
Okay.
A cute little house.
Yeah.
And my mom was always a sweetheart. My dad was very quiet and very nice, very good. That's how my life began. I had my little friends on the street. But actually, the house that we lived in was my father's house that he grew up in. It was my grandparents' house.
Okay.
And gradually, my father paid for the house. He used to, pay a little bit each of them. And yeah, so there's a lot of things from it, because my father was one of five kids in that little house that we lived in with 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom.
6
kids. What?
6
kids, maybe.
Yeah,
I
think
forget.
so.
So there were 6 children. Yes.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and they were always, when my father would tell us stories, you would just get right into it because of the way he would talk
Would
about it.
captivate you.
Right?
Yep.
Didn't he? Yeah, he was great.
I remember Papa Joe a little bit. I remember flashes of certain things. I know he passed away when I was younger, but I have like vivid memories of going to that house on Cross Street and him grabbing me and saying, "He's thirsty, get the kid some water."
Oh, he always had to make sure that.
He had couples like this or water on the table.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
like the second he grabbed me, I have a vivid memory of that.
Isn't that cute?
I remember being in a wooden high chair in that small kitchen too. And so I just interviewed Grandma. I don't know. What's the age difference? How much?
8 years difference.
8 years. Okay.
And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. Because she just kept saying to my mom, "I want a brother or a sister. I don't want to be an only child." And I drove my mom nuts. I know. I know it did. I talked too much,
Yeah, you're yam.
And then when I cried, she'd say, "Stop your yamming." That was my mom's. And your grandmom, Catherine, she bought the house right next door, which was perfect. So, and my father he loved it because he wanted us to live on Cross Street. We lived on East Passyunk Avenue for 2 years, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Little
Yeah,
over
we
a
got
year.
married.
Right, Capo's coin store.
Yes.
Right next door to it. The fair opened up. He had his grand opening and his grand closing. The
Yeah, he
same
never.
day.
But he had
But
an
Aunt
apartment
Gracie
upstairs.
got us the apartment above it. She said, because my niece and my husband, they're looking for a place. So I think he said, I forget, $60 a month or $50.
Wow.
So I think he
got
said
him for
60.
50. I think she got him
Yeah,
down.
I think he wanted 70 a month, and he got it for 60. The cheapest one we could find down in South Philly at the time was probably about, I would say, about 100, between 95 to 120.
Wow.
So we
we
took
took it. It was right across the street from my grandmother's shoe store.
And we stayed there for a little over a year. And what happened was, he said he was raising the rent from $60 to $70 a month. So I said to Arlene, I says, "We're getting out of here." So
you said it was above the coin store. Is the coin store, is it the one that's still there?
Yes.
Capo's still there.
Okay.
That's right.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't believe that coin store is still there.
Yeah.
That's
It's
funny.
crazy. But there used to be a luncheonette.
Aunt Arlene was working at the Navy Yard at that time. So every morning I would go 2 doors down, and that was Georgie Stone's luncheonette. And she would always get a corn muffin grilled on the grill with butter, and then a cup of coffee. And then I would get a blueberry muffin, and then we'd go back up to bring it back up to the apartment and have our breakfast.
That's great. Do you want to say a little bit about where you're from, where you grew up?
Sure. I was born in North 19th Street. That was in the Tioga section of the city of Philadelphia, roughly around 19th and above Allegheny. And after the 4th grade, we moved to Kensington, and we were in Kensington till I got married. And my father opened up a grocery store there. I'm the oldest of 9 children. We all worked in the store one way or another through the years. The store could not support the family of 11. Sometimes Grandmama and Grandpa came and lived with us probably for about 2 or 3 years. So it was a pretty crowded 3-story house with 1 bathroom. And when you have 6 sisters, it's very, very hard to get into the bathroom. And but we survived. There was no sink in the bathroom, so we had to, if you had to wash your face or brush your teeth, you kind of had to lean over the tub to do that.
I had the same. We had no sink in our bathroom either.
So anyway, from there I went to. I was going to go to Drexel University because I wanted to be an electrical engineer, but my marks, I had to make up quite a few marks before I could take the entrance into there. So I told my grandfather I wasn't going to Drexel. He says, well, then you have to go to, he said that he called up that second cousin, and he says that I set it up, you have to go up because he says he wants to interview you and check to see if you would like to become a printer. So that's what I did. I ran the press for him that day. He set the whole thing all up, and I just had to keep reloading it. And he said to me, would you like to come back and work on Tuesdays because you get out of school early on that day? I said, okay. And I stayed there for 21 more years. So, and the business grew, and I was a big part of it.
How old were you when you started there?
Started there at I was 16 years old.
Okay.
From there, I left there. I went to work for my biggest customer, one of my best customers at the time, More Products in Springhouse. And More Products turned around and head of advertising, who I dealt with, says he's going to put the implant print shop in. So he wanted to know if I knew anybody who would be, who I'd recommend for the print shop. So I says, yeah. I says, I know somebody very, very close to me. He says, who? I says, me. So I went to work there for about 11 and a half years. During that time, I put a press in my basement. I started running little printing jobs for the church and people in the neighborhood or whatever. And I did only the implant printing for that company. So there was no competitiveness for me. So what happened was I started out with 1 press and went to 2 presses. Carmen Coco started 2 different companies within a short time, and I was doing all their printing. And then besides that, then different members of the family helped me out by getting their companies that they work with for me to get some work from them. And it grew from there. And my 4 sons all ran the press. They knew how to clean a press. They knew how to run a press. My wife, Arlene, she ran the business. Pop, my father-in-law, he Joe Caruso, he made her the president of the company. So anyways, she kept the books. She did all the billing, all the collating. She just a remarkable job. Plus, she took care of the 4 boys and made sure they were fed and clothed, and also worked really hard with them on their homework because I was mainly down on the press most of the time. And she did such a good job that the boys are really, really successful today. So that was just, you know, that's what we did.
How old were you when you started your own business?
When I started my own business, I would say I was probably someplace around 37.
So you
I
fairly
started doing
quickly.
it part-time.
Gotcha. Yeah, the reason I asked was I wasn't sure at the timeline because as long as I remember, you had the depressive.
The one thing I did leave out there was that March, guess what, in between or someplace, I remember a meeting on He Needed Dance.
I was going to ask that.
And it was a great time, and I really fell in love with her as soon as I saw her. And then shortly after that, saw her another dance.
How old were you guys when you met?
I was 22, and
You were that old?
Yeah, I was old. Yeah, you were 19, and you couldn't get married unless Pop went up to City Hall and signed for you.
Okay.
Okay, I was legal. I could.
You were legal.
Yeah, you had to have your dad's signature in order to get married. And then after that, we lived a little over a year on Pashock Avenue in South Philadelphia, which was great. And then
did you move into this house? You moved straight to the Northeast? Yeah.
Then what happened was
Really?
the Northeast, we stayed here until they raised the rent $10.
Mhm.
And I said they were moving out. So we started looking around, and in the Northeast, you could get a lot of a brand new house at a fairly decent price.
Oh,
It was $15,500 for this house.
that's so
That
crazy.
Yes.
was brand new. Neat stuff. Neat stuff.
Okay, and then you said that you were working at the Navy Yard at a certain point. So
Yes.
what did you do there?
I was an office fiddle. I had to
Stenographer.
take care of stenographer or
You had your
whatever. I worked.
book, you would take
Yeah, and I
Snog-
had a group of men that I worked for.
engineers.
Yeah, they were engineers, and they would give me their stuff that I had to type or whatever, you know. And it was nice. I
So
enjoyed it.
basically, she was stenographer, so they would say what they wanted to say in a letter or what they want to say to the company, and she would listen to them and put it all on shorthand. Then she would take her shorthand book, and then she would go back and then type it on a typewriter, and then she would show it to them if there was any changes or corrections, modifications. They would do that, and then she would type the final
Mr.
draft up.
Hannon was my boss.
And before that, you worked for Betty Navy.
Yeah, before I worked.
And that
Before,
was
yeah, that's
another
right.
division in the Navy Yard.
They were all engineers, and I was the only secretary there.
I think it was called NAV Shipsa
Nav Shipsa.
Yeah.
That's right.
Department.
Naval Shipyard.
It's the Naval Shipyard in
Shipyard.
South Philadelphia.
Yeah,
on
isn't
Broad
that
Street,
funny?
at Delaware Avenue.
How long did you work there?
I just worked until I got
John was
pregnant
born,
in
so.
1968. Yeah, so we got
Okay.
married 66.
Yeah,
I had
was
already
spending-
been working there
yeah.
for a couple years, right? Yeah, I graduated in 64.
Right.
Then I start working at the Navy Yard, and then once
Yeah, it's probably about 2.5
68,
years.
yeah, then
And then how long after the kids were born did you start your own business?
I would say that probably 19, probably 19.
Like within 10 years? So they were
No, I would say that it was my own business, probably 15 years.
50. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's a good
so
one.
John and Joe were teenagers by the time you started.
By the time I started, yes, they were
Okay.
teenagers. Yes, because John started running the press first.
well, he had a press in the garage.
Yep.
Yeah,
Then I had-
so-
Do you still have that in the garage?
No,
No. Okay.
no.
I remember when I used to come over here, like for the times that you would watch me after school, I remember when I would come in and then you'd be working in the garage, and sometimes
Mhm.
Brian or whoever was here at the
Yes,
time,
that's right. Brian
I would
and
see them,
Sean.
yeah,
Oh.
in the garage working. I remember being able to go in and see
And
everything.
if Brian was working in the garage, then you saw Marnie. She was right outside the garage.
Marnie would look real pretty.
And she would come over and see Brian and he
Yeah,
be
she
running
would
the
stay.
press and
That's
see-
right. I forgot about that while he was running. But Brian liked it too much running the press. I says,
Well-
no, I don't want you to go become
No.
a pressman.
I was so proud of my guys because they wanted to work. They wanted to make the money. And it was really hard work. And they got their hands really dirty when they were cleaning the presses and all too. but they did a great job. They did a great job. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed printing all my life. I enjoyed dealing with customers. I enjoyed creating things for people. It was, meeting the deadlines. I was very, very fortunate, very, very lucky.
Now, is that how you learned the city so well? Because you were like my MapQuest before MapQuest was a thing. So, well, now everybody uses your phone. But I remember before MapQuest was a thing, and I still remember when I started to drive on my own. At that point, I used to be able to print out directions and have them with me when I was driving. But then there were times, like the hard part is there's no readjusting after that because I wasn't looking at a map. If you miss a turn or something, then you have to figure out how to get back to square one. And I always used to call you guys.
Oh, really? Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah. So I remember thinking like, oh, I got to call Uncle John and Arlene. They'll know where this is.
Oh, that's great.
Wherever it was in the city, there was always a point where I'd say, Uncle John, are you familiar with this neighborhood?
Oh, that's great.
I think that, growing up on the weekends, I would have to shoot the mobile listing pictures of all the real estates in the area, in Abington, in Jenkintown, and North Wales, sometimes out of the way forward out to Lansdale, Hatboro. But anything in Montgomery County, real estate. And I got paid $1 a picture for that. And lots of times that was our dates on the weekends.
Oh, really?
Yes.
We'd go out taking pictures of houses.
Pictures of houses.
And get paid for it too, besides. So it's neat.
That's cool.
Mhm.
You know what else is funny too is that your landmarks, I feel like, were always like cheesesteak places or
Oh, yes.
yeah, it was always like, yeah, you're in this neighborhood, that's by this place that they have the best cheesesteak in the area or something. Or there's this pub there that has this great food, and we always found crazy places because of that. I feel like.
Remember the night, but you were here, right? Up the Horizon.
Yeah,
And we came out of the Blue Horizon in a boxing place that was down on Broad Street around Montgomery Avenue, the Temple University area. And we came out of there, and I guess we probably had 2 or 3 cars. So I said we had at least like 12.
Well,
13 people.
your minivan was full of us, right? I think it was at least 2 cars.
2.
And then I was young at that point, but you and Poppy were in the front.
Right.
Me, my dad, Brian. We had a pretty full van of people. And it was snowing outside. It was icy.
Yeah, it started to snow.
And you guys said, and you said, are you hungry? I know a shortcut how to get there.
So we went all the way up the bridge. We went up to out to Alessandro's steakhouse, the Chubby Steakhouse. But right past there was a place called the Jamestown Inn.
Yep.
And that has really decent sandwiches and food. And by the time we got up there, my one son in that car behind us kept saying to my son, Joe, tell Daddy's nuts, turn around. The snow's coming down. And we're going up the ridge, and the ridge is a very hilly area. And John kept saying, Joe, tell Dad, he's crazy. Let's get back. He says, we're going to go in there and it's still snowing and it's getting too slippery. But we got up there and here it was closed. But the owner was coming out and he says, why, what did you want? I said, we have about 12 guys. We just want to get a sandwich. He says, okay, come on in. So he reopened the bar and we went in.
I remember that was a really cool memory. That place was one of the coolest the boxing venue was one of the coolest places.
Oh, that was. Your dad was the one that glued that whole thing together.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
That's one of those memories that I have.
Because the ring was here and you sit all around.
Yeah.
And then the ring, yes.
Then the third layer.
The bowl. It was like, there wasn't a bad seat in that
a bad
house.
seat in the
So
place.
how old were you?
I think I was like 12 years old.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I was pretty young. And I remember it was such a cool experience. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were really lucky. The whole family. We
were.
we all did
were.
things together, which was so nice.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we were all super close. That's why I know that you guys my aunt and uncle, but it was like you guys were like a third set of grandparents for me, which was cool. I mean, I used to come over. You guys watched me and my sister a lot.
That's right.
We always did all the holidays together.
Yeah, it was terrific.
It is. It's yeah.
Family is the best.
Yeah.
Family is the best, and we have a very strong family.
I agree.
Which is great.
Oh, when John was born, we still had to stay. We had to still stay in South Philly for at least another 3 more months because it was Arlene's first child. Catherine wanted, and the Ains wanted to keep the baby and the mother there as much as they could. So I used to sleep on the couch down there. We had a brand new house, but we couldn't move into it because my son wasn't born yet. And once my son was born, like all my kids had to be born at St. Agnes Hospital. Some of those rides down to the hospital
Oh my goodness.
were really, really tough rides.
It's where my doctor was
Right,
connected.
that was her doctor was there. Right?
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's the way it was, and that's the way we adjusted for it.
Where's St. Where was
St.
it?
Agnes was on Broad and Snyder.
Almost Broad.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the end of Pasadena
Yeah.
Avenue, and then when you cross over, that was St. Agnes
Got
Hospital.
it. Okay.
Yeah, well, it was.
Even though we moved up to the Northeast,
Everything was still
every
South.
of my other next 3 sons, they were all
They were all born at St. Agnes.
Did
Hospital.
you also bring? Did you guys have a pediatrician up here, or did you go back down to
I think I had
like
the
we
first
did?
time you,
Pediatrician. It
I
was?
would say you might have stayed with a pediatrician down there for maybe about a year.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I grew up, even though I grew up in the Northeast, my pediatrician was in South Philly my
See,
entire life.
that's what it was. Everybody was
called
from
family
South Philly.
tradition.
You got stuck there.
Yeah.
Goodness.
You know, what's funny is I do that now. I'm even further north now, but my kid's pediatrician is still in South Philly.
No kidding.
Yeah, we liked her a lot. So
Oh, well,
we still
you
go
know
back
what?
there.
That's good.
But
That's
it's
good.
yeah. And I think Allie was talking to me about it. She's like, that's too far. And I said, my entire life, I grew up going to the pediatrician in South Philly.
It must be something about South Philly that it wants to pull you there.
All right, so now I'm curious. So I told you guys the namesake of this series is If I Knew Then. I started out just doing this for career advice and learning from people's hindsight. But I'm curious from your perspective, you could talk career, life, family. If the way I'll frame it to you is if you could give me one piece of advice for my family, what would you say? You could give anything. It doesn't have to just be one piece.
I think you're terrific. You're very smart. You have
you.
a beautiful wife. You have adorable children, and you made the right choices.
Thank you.
Oh, you certainly did.
I appreciate that.
Oh my goodness, you're terrific.
Thank you so much. I'm not fishing for compliments.
You were a gentleman for me. You were a little boy.
Thank
You
you.
were always so. Wasn't it
He was
sweet?
the mayor of Upton Dale.
Oh, Spin? Yeah.
Spin.
Yes, yes.
He said, "This is my Uncle John. This is my, you know what I mean." And he would hear names as to each one of his teachers.
I remember
at this.
having to take you over to Spin, and this little girl, she was
Special person.
special, and you were so nice to her. Her mother had this big smile on her face because you treated her so nice, and you always were like that.
Thank
From
you.
when you were a little tot, you were like a gentleman.
Thank you.
always. Well, you're terrific, Anthony. And
thank you.
You're
I
really
think
a
that
good person.
if you always treat your wife good and you treat your kids good, everything else comes perfect. You know?
And you're starting to cry.
No, that's a fake too. The one little thing
Something's in the air.
the one little thing I did leave out was
That
I'm sitting in her dad's kitchen at Poppy Joe, and it's Christmas time, I think it was. It was whatever it was, but then no, it could have been because the baseball game was on. So anyway, she says to me, "Ask my dad." He asked her if she wanted to get married.
Oh, that's
She
right.
says, "Yes." So I've bet 2-3 weeks later, I finally get up to ask Joe if I could have her hand in matrimony, and she says, "Ask my dad. Ask my dad."
Well,
So
I
said,
went next door because Catherine,
Yeah, 'cause Catherine lived right next
lived
door.
next door.
So anyway,
me and my mom went next door with your mom because we just left him with my father. My father was so
I turned
stern.
around, I said to Pop, now Pop's got this radio in his hand.
That's
It's
right.
up on this
That's
ear.
the radio.
This ear, he can't hear us. This is his bad ear. And he's listening to the Phillies game. And I said to him, Joe, I just want to ask you if I could have your daughter's hand in matrimony. You know, I'd like to get married to your daughter. And he said, no. So it's,
He said no because he couldn't hear him because he was listening
my
to the
God.
Phillies game.
So I figured it was all over. So anyway, what happens is Pop said no, and then he went walking next door to Catherine's house through the backyard. So anyway, Arlene comes back over and she says, what did my dad say? Well, he said no. He says, oh, he must have misunderstood you. Ask him again. I says, no. I says, I got shot down by a lot of girls before, but never by their father. I said, so I said, that's it. But anyway, I did
He had the phone.
Yeah.
That's what he had, that
I
little
did get up
radio.
enough nerve to
And
ask
he
him
was,
again
he
when
did not
did
hear
have
what John
the
was saying. He
baseball
was
game
listening to
on
the
with the
Phillies game.
radio. But this is his portable radio. Yeah.
My dad was so stern. He was scared of it. He was scared of it.
But me and Joe, we were like that.
Because my father
Me
was
and Joe
just
was there.
stern. But he wasn't mean. He just was always seen from it. It looked good to not to smile.
Yeah, look.
Thank God my mom
He
was
would
a
smirk.
smiler.
He would smirk. Bob would smirk, but he wouldn't give you a real smile.
He would try to hide
Yeah,
it.
he would try.
Yeah. That's funny. Oh, but
Well, you said he
That's
got
great.
that from his mom, right?
my grandmother was real stern. Yeah. My grandpapa was just a cute old man.
About the
My
picture?
grandmother was coming over to America and he fell in love with my grandmother. And when he found out
Yeah.
she was coming, he just jumped on the ship and went.
Really?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, it was so cute. When I found that story about that story, I thought it was beautiful.
This was really great. Thank you guys for doing this. I really
We
appreciate it.
went into really going back.
Yeah, I love it. I think the stories were fantastic. I really appreciate you guys doing this. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Anthony.
I love you.
Terrific. I love you. We love you too.
Me too.
Thank you.
You're wonderful, and your wife is
you have to
wonderful.
be
You're a
back to pick
beautiful
up the logo.
family.
Thank you.